It's no secret, I'm not a fan of Morrowind's Tribunal expansion. I think it's repetitive, fetch questy, and not including the last hour or so, just plain boring. But I already made a video on that. I played Morrowind for the first time ever a few months ago, and Tribunal was weak enough to dissuade me from continuing. However, 273 people told me Bloodmoon is better, and yeah, I counted. I got comments, I got Discord messages, I got tweets, I even got emails. Every form of communication I have was being blown up, begging me to give Morrowind another shot. You read the title, you know why we're here, let's see if Bloodmoon lives up to the hype. I'm going to assume most of you have seen my previous videos. If you haven't, here's the rundown. I'm playing Morrowind for the first time ever, a game just about older than I am. For these videos, I try to play as blindly as possible. No mods, no guides, and the only help I have is from my YouTube comments. This will be my fourth and final first impression of Morrowind. I'll have a playlist link down below if you'd like to go back, but after Bloodmoon, I've tried all the major content this game offers. So with that being said, at the end of this video, I will have a final segment on what I think about Morrowind as a whole, expansions and all. Does this game deserve to be called one of the greatest of all time? Let's find out. Our adventure starts with a brand new character, Glizzard the Lizard. And yes, all three of my characters for all three of my playthroughs of Morrowind have been lizards. I live streamed the character setup for this guy, but his build is on screen now if you'd like to pause and read. This lizard is a heavy armor, sword and board fighter with some decent magic in his back pocket. We grinded up to level 30, climbed the ranks of the Imperial Legion, which will be important later.
Where's your uniform?
Oh, killed Salus Valor for his sick enchanted armor, and basically, we were good to go. We headed to Kuhl, grabbed a ferry to Fort Frostmoth, and set foot in Solstheim for the very first time. In this game, anyway. The first person we see is a fellow reptile, but it seems the cold has driven him a little crazy.
All I ask for is a pair of boots.
Why would you want a pair of boots, brother? We can't wear those. He does point me in the direction of Captain Carius, the head of the Imperial Fort. We get a warm welcome by my fellow soldiers. Cult Shrine. Does she just rip ass? What the hell is that? And our first hint that joining the Legion may have not been the right move. But don't worry.
Where's your uniform?
We'll come back to this. We finally find the captain, who immediately tries to arrest me. You violated the law. Fantastic. What did I do? He tells us the island of Solstheim is making his men edgy. The morale is dangerously low amongst the soldiers in the fort, and he wants me to find out why. Remember how I just mentioned these bastards kept chastising me for not wearing my uniform? Yeah, turns out these soldiers would not talk to me unless I had the correct gear on. Whoever suggested for me to join the Legion in my first livestream needs to be shot. Anyway, I of course chose to leave all my bad armor back in Morrowind, but because these fucks would not talk to me unless I was in uniform, I had to carry one with me at all times, which was just awesome for my speed and weight. Anyway, the soldiers in the fort are pissed because someone has been confiscating their booze. With a couple alcoholic bribes here and there, I was able to snuff out who was behind the vile plot, the Imperial Priest. He openly admits he's guilty, but then says I have no proof. So I have to go sniffing around for evidence. We confront him, he admits it, and we turn him into the captain. Problem solved. However, the captain has another problem. Weapon smuggling. He gives me the choice of two companions. I pick the woman and instantly get her killed. No, Gaia. But with her sacrifice, I was able to shut down the entire smuggling ring. On our return to the fort, we find out it's been attacked and the captain is missing. Giant wolves got past our defenses, and our best clue is that some Nords in a village north might know what happened. It's a long trek. We encounter some little dudes. What the little guy did a roll there. But we finally make it and speak with the village leader in the Great Hall. He tells me, although he doesn't like the Imperials, he would never openly attack them. The giant wolves that attacked our fort are not from this island, whatever that might mean. The village leader then says if we want his help, I must atone for the sins of the Imperials. I must be the one to restore the power of the Skull. Essentially, this quest requires you to do 6 rituals, one for each standing stone found on the island. Some of them are a little more interesting than others, but let's get started. First up is the Windstone, which is the closest to the town. The tomb I need to investigate is down a nearby valley, and I get to see my first Draugr of Morrowind. Oh my god, that guy just ran up on me. But yeah, for this quest, you literally just open up a bag of wind, like that one episode of SpongeBob.
What's in here?
Next is the Beast Stone, and this one was particularly tricky. Obviously, Morrowind was made for older machines with a lower draw distance. This quest spawns a polar bear that's being attacked by Reeklings, but it spawns based off your draw distance. Since my graphics and stuff are maxed out, this meant it was spawning a million miles away, making it extremely difficult for me to get there in time to save him, especially with heavy armor. It took me several tries, but I was actually able to do it without using console commands or cheats, so I'm proud of myself. Fortify. I have Fortify Strength. I could try this. I could drink Strength, and I could also drink Flynn. Oh my god, we did it. We just had to drink a bunch of alcohol. And if that's not the answer to everyone's problems, drinking a bunch of alcohol, I don't know what is. Before I do the next stone, I do some exploring in this area. I find a tomb with just piles of loot lying around. We got, oh my, oh wait, I just realized this is gold. I thought it was dirt. Holy shit. None of the gear was specifically better than what I had, but it was worth piles of money. This money was then used for training. A lot of training. Anyway, let's continue with the next stone, the sun. This quest is pretty simple. Find an ice cave and free an orb of light that's trapped inside. Easy peasy. Aww. Next one is the fart stone. I mean, Earth Stone. For this mission, you go inside a musical cave where stalagmites and stalactites are farting out gas, and you try your best to match the pattern. Oh, it's basically Simon Says, and since I'm a Sky baby, I'm very good at children's games. I did it, I swear I did it right. I guess I did it. Mission complete. Waterstone is next, and thank fucking god I got to use my Argonian racial ability for once. I swear to god, water breathing might be the worst passive in this game, but I was so happy I actually got to use it. Look at us go! Two native water inhabitants swimming like pals. Look at this guy T-pose. The quest requires you to escort a Horker across a lake and into a flooded cave. Beat the shit out of a skeleton, grab a potion, and we're done. Finally, we're on to the last one, the Tree Stone. A little fucking gremlin guy has some seeds that lets him control Spriggans. If you kill him and take the seeds, they're supposed to stop attacking you. I think I caught one in the middle of her regeneration, so she was still a little bit angry. We return to the Nord Skull Chief who grants me his blessing, along with a pretty awesome mace, a worthy reward for my 3 hours of standing stone trials. Oh, look at this bad boy.
What say you?
I also should mention, while I was doing these rituals, I was interweaving the Raven Rock questline. After speaking to Carnius, you're tasked with doing some chores every so often. Over time, your settlement of Raven Rock will be established. The basic story behind this town is that there was a large deposit of ebony in the soil, so it's a mining town of sorts. This doesn't contribute to the main story as much, but as a Skyrim player, this was pretty cool to see. I helped build this town. You know, you don't really get to experience that in many games, and it was very nostalgic for me. We'll dive a little bit deeper into this quest later in the video, but I just wanted to mention it so you know I didn't skip it. Let's get back to the main story. After giving me this Giga Mace, the Nord Chief asks me to investigate a crime in his town. After talking to the first dude who had his stuff stolen, I immediately guessed what was going down. While I was on the hunt, he was known to keep counsel with her and others. Oh. Maybe this guy's getting cucked? Now, I spoke to as many people as I could. I couldn't, for the life of me, figure out what was the last piece of evidence. I spoke to literally everyone in this town and just ended up doing a side quest because I thought it was part of this main story. This frustrated me a little bit.
I understand you are investigating Engar Ice Main.
Dude, shut the fuck up. I have been investigating for 45 minutes. I'm missing something. There's gotta be something in this guy's fucking house. But after 30 minutes of searching every square inch of both people's houses, I eventually found the last clue. Again, I'm trying to play this game blind, so the only person I can get mad at is me. It is true that Rigmor and I have had a brief affair. Oh my god, I called it. I called it right away. However, that didn't save the guilty NPC from my frustrations, as I chose the most brutal form of punishment I could. The next quest the Skull Chief gives me is to investigate some weird shit going on at the lake. He wants me to kill a Draugr Lord in an underwater cave. Another great use of my Argonian ability. Oh, look at that. Oh my god. I'm getting use out of my races only ability. However, it turns out this Draugr Lord is actually pretty chill. He was an exiled member of the Skull, but still loves his people. He discovered some ice daedra below the lake that are powerful enough to destroy Solstheim. He turns himself into a Draugr so he can live forever and maintain the barrier to keep his people safe. Pretty nice guy. I couldn't bring myself to kill him and decided to team up. Fuck yeah, bro. How often do you get to team up with a Draugr? We get rid of the daedra for good, and once our mission is complete, he dies knowing his people are safe. No! However, once we turn in this quest, the Skull Village is attacked by werewolves. I defend the town flawlessly without taking a single hit, return back inside only to find 2 more werewolves and no trace of the chief. Somehow, I've been infected with lycanthropy. The shaman tells me I have 3 days to cure myself or the effects will become irreversible. Now, little fun fact about me. Hircine is one of, if not my favorite Daedric prince. When there's werewolves involved, he's usually involved, so I make sure to do whatever I can to increase my face time with the boss. Upon sleeping for my 3rd night, I get greeted with a surprise. Oh! Cutscene! This is cool. The beast within you hungers for flesh. You must feed soon. Oh my god, I'm a wolf! Oh, the movement is so janky. Oh my god. Oh my god, look at how far I can jump. Woo! Takes me a while to figure out how to continue the main quest, but basically Hircine comes to me in my dreams every night with a mission to accomplish. Each time I complete one of these, I get an added bonus that makes my werewolf form stronger. Or so I thought. The first mission is just a wave-based slaughter. You go in a cave with a shit ton of dudes and you keep railing them until they stop coming. The reward for this one is better claws for a little bit more damage. The second mission is interrupting a hunt for the Coca-Cola polar bear and killing any skull that stand in your way. The detection radius for the werewolf is 87 million kilometers, so if any human even spawned in, they will bum rush you. This proved an issue during this quest. Not because it was tedious, which it was, but because I aggroed these guys here. These fuckers are essential for the Raven Rock questline. I didn't know that at the time. After this main story is over, I go back to finish up the colony, but as you can probably assume, it did not end well. Anyway, after killing the bear, you get a perk that allows you to summon a bone wolf during the day. I spent like 30 minutes trying to get this to work. The way it's phrased makes it sound like it's a passive summon during the day if you're a werewolf. But no, it's just a standard conjuration spell added to your spellbook. The last mission is to kill some elephant trolls in the Blue Baby's basement. It was cool to see this style of architecture for the first time, but the mission itself didn't pose a challenge at all. The werewolf seems super overpowered. It's like slicing through butter. The reward for this mission is a power to restore 1000 HP once a day. Again, I thought this was something you could cast as the werewolf, because that thematically makes way more sense, but no, it's just another thing you can do in your regular form. I would say that's definitely a complaint I have with Morrowind's werewolf system, especially compared to other Elder Scrolls games. I loved being one. It was super fun, don't get me wrong, but I found it quite weird that only one of the rewards is actually for your werewolf form. Especially coming from Skyrim, I did not like how Morrowind handled this quote-unquote perk system. Anyway, after doing these 3 missions for Hircine, you have another dream and are transported directly to him. What the fuck? Oh my god, is that Hircine? He has organized a great hunt. I have proved my worth to him as a loyal hunter and must prove myself once more to my master. Our first challenge is Captain Carius. Remember that guy from the start? He went mysteriously missing, and I guess this is where he ended up. I think it took 3 whole attacks to take him down. So much for that guy, I guess. We then have to navigate the labyrinth to find the portal in the middle. Unfortunately, this maze is filled with werewolves, who are much harder to kill than that Carius guy. Oh my god, that was way too close. Oh, that actually scared me. I actually got jump scared. Once we make it through the portal, we are confronted by our second challenge, the Skull Chief. As I flawlessly predicted, how did these guys get in here? Heartfang, however, is nowhere to be found. He a werewolf? He was a werewolf as well, and we dispatch of him quite quickly. For this level, I tried just jumping around all the wolves, but that didn't really work out. Oh, maybe I'm just supposed to run to the portal. Maybe you're not supposed to fight them. No. Let me in. The final area had a troll boss guy. He didn't even hit me once. Oh, come on, hit me. Okay, what the fuck was the point of that fight? Like, I didn't do shit. After killing the troll, we're face to face with our boss once more. Hircine tells me to pick the most important trait a hunter can possess, and I correctly assume, again, this will be the foe I'll be facing. But I feel like if he is going to inherit one of these attributes, speed will be the easiest for me to defeat. Okay, I mean, I'm glad I picked speed. That was my fucking reasoning, was that it would be the easiest to kill, and it definitely was. Like, that wasn't even a challenge. Yeah, again, not an issue. The werewolf form is just insane. This is the easiest shit I've ever done in my life. People said I had to be level 70 plus for this. I think I'm level 35. After completing Hircine's gauntlet of challenges, I get a cutscene. Now, I'm gonna let this play out for you so you can understand my confusion. Keep in mind, I'm a loyal servant of this Daedric prince and have done nothing against his will whatsoever. I have done everything he asked, and the goal of completing this gauntlet was to prove myself worthy of his favor.
This cannot be. The blood moon falls, and the prey still lives. You have defeated my aspect, but I will return mortal. The blood moon will rise again, and my hounds will walk the lands. Let this world enjoy its brief respite, for Hircine will hunt again.
What? I thought Hircine was my ally. What? Why was he mad at me for winning? Did I just kill my boss? What the fuck happened? Why is he talking to me like I'm his enemy? This would make sense if you rejected his gift and did this quest as a human, but it makes zero sense as a werewolf. None at all. The blood moon will rise again and my hounds will walk the lands. Yeah, brother, I'm still here. You left me. Your hounds are walking the lands right now. Enjoy this brief period of respite. What are you talking about? I was part of your raids against these people. I won. Where's my respite? I asked about this in my Discord, and the only answer I really got was that the werewolf quest path isn't canon. The finale was absolutely geared around you competing against Hircine during the main story, not with him. Maybe Morrowind is so old, some of the new lore wasn't established, but I would have preferred if my character died right there and won the honor of returning to the hunting grounds with his other hounds. Hircine is such a unique Daedric prince for many reasons. One is the fact that he doesn't corrupt or recruit. He lets people come to him, and if they prove themselves, they earn his gifts. Writing-wise, this version of Hircine is the most boring iteration I've seen. I would take ESO over this, but I'm obviously very biased. He's one of my favorite princes, and that conclusion really sucked for me. It was like a slap in the face, like, yeah, you weren't really supposed to do that, so here's the lore-accurate ending instead. When this main story was over, I decided to finish up Raven Rock. Now, this posed an issue for several reasons, but perhaps the largest, despite what the final cutscene says, I'm still a child of Hircine. I'm still a hound. This questline requires the passage of time quite frequently, so you're resting 2 to 3 days after every mission. Werewolves unequip all of their items, and it interrupts your sleep to play a little cinematic every night. Since my god abandoned me anyway, I decided to strip myself of his gifts. There's a little side quest you could do with 3 witches who require you to obtain specific ingredients for a potion, kill an innocent woman, and transfer your lycanthropy to the corpse. After you kill the wolf, you're cured and can never be infected again. I continue to do the Raven Rock quests as best I can. I side with Falco over Carnius, build a shop, threaten a sailor, catch someone stealing ebony, let an old man smack me around, and run into the issue I touched upon earlier. The next quest requires you to speak to Graring, who I ruthlessly slaughtered along with his entire family 6 to 7 hours ago. Because he's dead, I can't pick up the quest. Low-key, I think it's kind of funny and a unique twist in my journey that other people may not have. It's realistic. One of my first nights as a werewolf, I went out of control and slaughtered all the local inhabitants. I suppose I could cheat, but one of the things I really like about Morrowind is you can kill these NPCs that are important for the story. You can kill Vivek, you can mess up your quests, and I think that gives the game part of its charm. So, this is my canon ending. Raven Rock is only 60 to 70% complete. Now, the time of reckoning has come. What did Frostbreak think of Bloodmoon? It has my favorite Daedric Prince, so it can't go lower than a 7 out of 10. It's leagues ahead of Tribunal. The questing area is significantly larger, it's open world, which Tribunal isn't for some reason, and it doesn't reuse the same locations on repeat for different quests. The writing, world design, most things you can name are strictly a step up from Tribunal, but that's not really saying much. Despite my feelings of being neglected by Hircine in the final moments of the story, I really appreciated all the choices you can make. You can play this campaign completely differently if you choose. You can play Raven Rock completely different if you choose. There's so much choice and replayability for this story, at least 6 hours of content that's completely different between playthroughs, and I really like that. I don't have much to complain about at all regarding this DLC. Werewolf powers felt a little awkward as most were assigned to your human form. It also would have been nice to have some fast travel, perhaps on boats down the rivers. A lot of these quests just send you up and down the island over and over, and I would guess 25% of my playtime was just traversal. I used Mark and Recall, but fast travel would have been even more helpful. Obviously, my biggest complaint of this DLC is how they handled the finale. Not the mission itself, but the last few minutes. Imagine in Skyrim if halfway through you either decide to become the Dragonborn and kill Alduin, or a Dragon Priest and serve him. You do hours of questing to either find a way to kill him, or hours of questing of servitude, and the final conclusion is the same no matter what path you picked? That'd be a little weird, right? Literally all they needed to do was make a unique cutscene depending on your choices. That's it. That'd solve all my problems. It feels really odd to hear your master vow vengeance upon you for doing nothing but follow his orders. I know there's going to be a few comments on it, but before I left Solstheim, I wanted to make sure I did most of what I could. According to the wiki, which I did use to make sure I didn't miss anything, there's 14 or so side quests. Almost as much as Fallout 3, by the way. I believe I did almost all of them, minus Patchwork Airship, which I think is started in Aldrune. I'll throw some footage in the background right now, but for the most part, they're not super complicated. Most took 5 to 10 minutes, but a few surprised me for sure. As I said at the start of the video, this was the last piece of the Morrowind puzzle. I'm ready to give my comprehensive first impression of Morrowind as a whole. You guys know me. You know I don't pull my punches when it comes to these reviews. If I don't like a game, I will stop playing it. If I think a game is unplayable and poorly aged, I'm not afraid to say that. I think The Elder Scrolls III Morrowind is one of the best games I have ever played in my life. I've had my issues with this game. I've had frustrations, but all stem from a place of misunderstanding. I think this newfound respect comes from my recent first ever playthrough of Oblivion. The entire time I was playing that game, I was thinking, damn, I wish I was playing Morrowind. I'm thinking right now, how do I go back and play more for videos? I'm planning a big comparison project between all the Elder Scrolls games, and the only reason I want to do that is to have an excuse to make a new Morrowind character. Now specifically, I am talking about the base game. Tribunal was below average for me, and Bloodmoon was above average, but I don't think I would play either of them again just for the main story. Maybe for specific items, loot, or lycanthropy. I want to offer my sincere gratitude for all of you that bullied me into playing this game. I hate being a Glazer man, but Morrowind's been a life-changing experience, both in terms of the impression on me as a gamer, but also a content creator. If you're a Zoomer or a Skyrim player like myself, I would suggest giving it a solid shot. Not just an hour or two. Give it a good try. Hey, I'm the first one to admit it's tricky to pick up. The combat in most of the systems are pretty dated, but what it lacks in modern polish, it makes up for in other ways. Yeah, there's no voice acting, but because of that, the developers were able to put in exponentially more content. As I mentioned at the start of the video, I've made 3 characters. I've played through this game multiple times. I doubt I've even done 25% of the content in the base game alone. It's shocking to realize how much is in this game. The sheer amount of factions, guilds, and questlines you can do is unparalleled, but it takes time to appreciate. It doesn't hold your hand at all. If you don't pay attention to what people say, you're going to have a hard time. You have to play Morrowind slower and more patiently, but if you can manage that, this will be one of the best RPGs you've ever played. And that, folks, marks the end of my first impressions of Morrowind. For the first time ever on this channel, I have completed all the major content for a single title. Now, I say major content because I'm still itching to return for all the side quests I've missed. I have a pretty full upcoming schedule for videos, but rest assured, I will make the time to return to Morrowind. Thank you so much for watching this video all the way to this point. Huge thank you to my members who make these projects possible. And check out the 2 videos on your screen now. YouTube seems to think you'll like them. That's all for me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.